How your mom and them doing? How your dad? You know what I'm saying? Your mom probably left, your dad probably there. You know what I'm saying? Kid always be on so how your mom, how your daddy, how your pappy. You know what I mean? It's Achad. What's going on? So, the routine. I wouldn't have to do it if you would buy it. If you would just go ahead and submit the book form on my website or down there, you know what I mean? Holographer.com/the-book. I wouldn't have to keep coming out here talking about it. I don't care if you're tired of it. I'm all energized about it. Holography, the whole writing of the arts and sciences as one educational discipline, you know what I'm saying, on that website. I'm going to beat it into your head. I'm going to tattoo it onto your brain matter, your gray matter. So when you go to sleep, you dream about it. When you daydream, it comes up in your mind. The vision comes. Go ahead and buy it. Stop being slow with it. Go ahead and be quick. Anyway, as the broadcast title suggests, haunted body, when past selves come back to haunt you. Ooh, ooh. I know I scared somebody out here. Let's see this. I know I scared somebody. I know the child part of you was scared of that. Ooh, but yeah, to be more serious about it, this broadcast here, right here, is inspired by a dream that I had waking up this morning, and this is the way I'm going to deal with it. So I'm going to be vulnerable, vulnerabilities. I'm going to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? So that, and with my vulnerability, perhaps you know what I'm saying, know something you didn't know, or you're reminded to stay on track with what you already knew. Because you can know these things, but it doesn't mean that you're applying them, and it doesn't mean that you're dealing with it. It's just some, someone told it to you before, you heard it somewhere, you read it somewhere, never really kind of delved into it depthically. You know what I mean? So what I mean by a haunted body is this is something that is probably is it's common to every human, every person here. No one out here can really act like this doesn't apply to them. So if we was dealing with a demographic, it would be every person on this, experiencing their human thing, you know what I'm saying, on this earth. So we talking about 7.8 billion people. That's what they be saying. Who knows if that's true? But when past selves come back, I remember there was this Stephen King movie. It's based on like I think it was a short story by Stephen King. Sometimes they come back. You know what I'm saying? It was these greaser dudes that got killed, and then when the dude, he was being bullied by him, but then when the dude became like a middle-aged man, those teenagers came back to haunt him for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they come back, and then they came out with the cornier sequel. Sometimes they come back dot 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 again. So we're dealing with revenants. So we're going to be dealing with death, and some people know me for Obia, Obai, and whatever. We got to deal with revenants, and what is more revenantal? You know what I'm saying? To create words, neologisms, and look it up. What could be more revenantal than your past selves, who you was, aspects of who you were, confronting you today, tomorrow, yesterday, around this time in your life, even going forward? You're being haunted by past aspects or past versions of who you once was. But the trick here, you know what I'm saying? The trick is that you think it's in the past, but it's actually here with you today. Yes, it happened in the past because you have selves that deal with what happened to you in the past, but those selves, plural, never left you. They just in the background. So even as I speak to you right now, my God, they right here. You ain't got to see them, you know what I'm saying, with your eyeballs, because this we talking about spiritual stuff. You know what I'm saying? We talking about within your mind, within yourself, within your being. You have these past iterations of who you are that still are with you. So think about all the things you've done. Let's just deal with this incarnation, because we can get into past lives and past life regression, motherfuckers claiming to do that. But let's just deal with your incarnation in this lifetime, right? This incarnation. Think about all the things you were before you are what you are right now. Think about it. Think of what you was into, who you was dating, who you was, trusting. You feel me? Think about all the things you did, things done to you. Like, for example, there was a moment in your life where you stopped probably trusting people, or you stopped trusting men, you stopped trusting women. There was a pivotal point in your life when you decided that you was going to stop trusting. That's a past iteration of who you are. Even if you started, retrusting men, retrusting women, or just retrusting certain people, or just people in general, there was that self who was traumatized by that, what I'm saying, that breach of trust. That person who he was is still in the background of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Some people say subconscious, some people say, I say background, you know what I'm saying? So that we don't have to be always into the Carl Jung thing. It's in the background because your ego is what's in the foreground. Because it's just like if you was watching a play, like if you was on Broadway, you have the center stage, the fourth stage, where you have all the actors that are supposed to be in that scene, but then you have backstage, background. You know what I'm saying? You have people who do the, you know what I'm saying, that pull the curtains open and pull them or push them closed. You got the stage hands, you know what I'm saying? Like when a scene ends, they run on the stage and move all the furniture off the stage so they can bring in the new scenery or whatever. That's the background. Just think of that whole theater as your mind. Because it's just like that Ludacris album, The Theater of the Mind, which I didn't like because he didn't go all the way with the concept. He only did like half the songs where it was dealing with movies. He didn't go all the way. I ain't like that. But anyway, brilliant rapper. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying he didn't. When people go with a concept, but they don't really. It's just like the Kanye West thing where he said he was gonna have a gospel album with the life of Pablo, but it wasn't fully gospel. He did it later with the Jesus is King, but if you're gonna say you're gonna do something, ma'am, do it all the way. But anyway, think of it as a stage play, you know what I'm saying? And then even the audience, because this is who you're performing for, right? When you're out in the open, you're out there, at the job or at the club, or what I'm saying, at the what I'm saying, bus station, what I'm saying, just in some public instance or public situation, you're performing for people. Because you ain't gotta really feel that way about how you really act in public. You're probably real modest. You don't talk much. You're real reserved. But when your ass get home, you the loudest, talkative, most annoying bitch. You know what I'm saying, at home. You know what I mean? And you talk all the damn time. It's just when you get into when you get stage fright when other people or certain individuals are there in your audience. So going with this metaphor, like I said, you have the backstage, you have the background. You know what I'm saying? So think about every person in that play, including the cast, the crew, the director. All those people are all you. This is a setup for a dream. What if you had a dream like that? This is a brilliant metaphor, metaphorical. You know what I'm saying? All the stagehand, the director, the main actor, the supporting characters, the stage hands. You know what I'm saying? All you, all different aspects of who you are. They're all involved in this play that you call life, and they're there. They never go anywhere. They may not be center stage. It may not be their time to be on stage. They can be off stage, backstage. You know what I'm saying? Somebody putting on makeup, changing clothes. It's just like a theater, like a theater play. Like there's shit that has to happen backstage so that the front stage, you know what I'm saying, the fourth stage or the foreground can be what it is. But in this instance where I'm talking about your past self, these things don't go nowhere. So for those of you that was once addicted to something, like for example, if you was addicted to heroin needles, or what I'm saying, you was a heavy smoker, heavy pothead ass nigga, you know what I'm saying, or you was a cokehead, crackhead, you know what I'm saying, you was a drunkard, you know what I mean? And now you're no longer that. However, that iteration of who you was with those addictions never went anywhere. What makes you think they went somewhere? What makes you think it was dissolved or it was disintegrated? No, it's still there. You know what I'm saying? Congrats. You know what I'm saying? We talking about plays or whatever, standing ovation that you was able to overcome the addiction. But you have to realize that that iteration exists as a part of you. Though it may not be on the foreground or on the fore stage, it's backstage somewhere. Mm, yeah. Like how some of y'all was, what I'm saying, you was queer, or you was a little, what I'm saying, a little fruity, but you overcame it. You know what I mean? That fruity iteration of who you are still exists somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just, are you letting it have expression? Are you trying to suppress it, like act like it didn't happen? Yeah, we go. Ooh, we getting spooky in here today. Spook artist. I'm a spook artist. You know what I'm saying? Some people only in the occult to be spooky. You know what I mean? So we got to cater to that. You know what I'm saying? That audience. Going back to the whole theatrical play metaphor. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what some of y'all be doing on social media. Keep it real. Y'all know you be doing that. You be acting spooky like you real occult and powerful, but you know, you're just a regular schmo, you know what I'm saying, when the camera go off or where you ain't on Instagram. Come on. Who you talk to? Who you talk to? Come on. Because you probably asked me who I've been talking to, and it's like I'm dealing with past iterations. Because I this is stuff where when you're dealing with self-knowledge, you're going beyond history. You're going to beyond, you know, who your people was in Africa or who they was in ancient times or who they was before slavery or something like that. Nah, you gotta deal with self-knowledge as it pertains to you. Who was you at age 17? Who was you at age 10? Who was you at age 6? Who was you when you was 2 years old? Hell, who was you in the womb? Who was you in the past life if you want to go back that far? Because some of y'all be sitting here ignoring that shit. You don't be dealing with it. So your self-acknowledgement degree is very low, and we're trying to get it higher. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get higher. You know what I mean? But you can't be scared, baby. Don't be scared. I mean, there's a helping hand. You know what I'm saying? See my hand? There's a helping hand. You know what I'm saying? You gonna take it or you gonna be you know what I'm saying? You're gonna be spooked out. Because we're dealing with who you once was and where did it go. So, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, I was saying that this whole live stream is inspired by a dream I had, you know, waking up this morning where, you know, I was really hugging, like really hugging onto, you know, my mother, like really hugging onto her, like, I love you. Mwah. It was like really hugging onto her, you know what I'm saying? Really attached to her, right? But that's not who I am in my waking life. I'm not that. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Let's just say communications are strained without me having to reveal any type of details. But that's not what I'll be doing throughout my life right now. I don't be doing that with anybody, really. But in my dream, as I did it's the exact opposite. I'm sitting here hugging this woman so tight that it's almost as if, you know, I want to be joined at the hip with her or something like that. So this is what I'm able to, like, you know, acknowledge about myself is that some part of me still wants that and yearns for that. However, this is a very strong buff ass however, it's not something I wish to express or wish to have in my reality. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something I want, like, you know what I'm saying, in my fore stage or my foreground in my life. But in a past iteration, because obviously, if you are a little baby, you know what I'm saying, little baby, of course you're going to hang tight to your mother, especially if she breastfeeding you. Where you think you don't want no milk? Come on, everybody wants some milk at that age. And I feel sorry for y'all who, you know, you wasn't breastfed, excuse me, breastfed, and you got the Similac treatment. That's cruel. They gave you formula. What was this, a science experiment? So you got nursed with science experiments instead of the real milk. I feel sorry for you and your mother. I hope y'all, you know, work that out. But, you know, just as a general kid, you're going to be attached to your mother like that. You're going to hang tight. She's like your first teacher, first protector, first nurturer. You know what I'm saying? And for most people right now, even well into their 50s, 60s, it's their only nurturer. They still attached to her. You know what I'm saying? But me, you know, in my forward life or just in my physical life, that's not who I am. But I know, like, when I was an infant, especially when I was a baby or infant, I was attached to her like that. So what is the dream trying to say? What is the dream telling me? It's showing me who I once was. And probably I need to further address this aspect of myself that is in the background. When I say past self, I don't simply mean it's from the past and it's there in the past. No, it's here with you. Again, think about everything you went through. This is a part of self-acknowledgement. This is a part of self-knowledge. Know thyself. Because sometimes the same past self can reappear. You know what I mean? Now, if you get my book here, Holography, I explain this stuff to the T, where I'm dealing with, you have schemas, which I do have a course called, if you don't already know, Emotional Baggage Claim, and then the extended version, Inner Work Suite, where it's all about addressing these schemas or these constructs of yourself that appear and reappear depending on, what's happening in your life right now. So, for example, you meet a woman, you're a man, you would meet a woman, and she may be a catalyst to, or a leeway to a self that you haven't been dealing with in a while. You know what I'm saying? Relation is reflection. So she's going to reflect not only an aspect of you, but the aspect of you that deals with that type of person. So, like I said, I've dealt with this in my character line thesis, also in my book, where you're dealing with the same person over and over again, only because they are reflecting some part of you, some aspect, and even a past self of who you are. So, as you're not dealing with this past aspect of yourself or iteration, again, you're going to keep running into that person that's going to bring that to the surface. You know what I'm saying? That can control your life. So you can tell who's in control of their life and who isn't, who has the self-knowledge and who doesn't. You know what I'm saying? You could be as intellectual and as erudite and collegiate as you want to be. You know what I'm saying? Smarty pants. You know what I mean? You can be that. However, that's not going to stop you from being confronted by your past iterations. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you was a bitch in high school, you was a bitch in middle school. That bitch that bitch incarnation of you, that bitch iteration is going to always keep coming back to you for some reason. It's going to keep confronting you because you have to sit here and deal with that entity. That is you, an aspect of you, an iteration, a side of you. So if you look at yourself as like some sort of like dodecahedron or some icosahedron, like those shapes, platonic shapes where there's all these different sides to it, it's like 60 sides to it. That's you. You have like 60 sides to you. Maybe not as much, but you get the metaphor. Like it's all these different aspects of you that land on or land, facing upwards, depending on what you're dealing with in your life at the moment. You know what I'm saying? So when that dream I was just talking about, where I was, like hugging my mom as tight as I probably ever have. Again, that's nothing that I'm dealing with right now. However, buff ass, however, it's some part of me that wants it. Doesn't have to be the entirety of who I am, because some people don't know the full scope of their self. Because they think they're in one mode every day, and they think that's the totality or the full scope of who they are, and that's erroneous. It's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, every time you get steaming mad, that's an iteration of who you are. Every time you feel some sort of sadness or depression, that's an aspect of who you are. Every time you feel some sort of, feelings of despair or envy or something like that, that's an aspect or an iteration of self. So if you deal with the entire spectrum, holography, the whole thing, that's when you're moving into your whole person, like you're a whole self. And you're not sitting here trying to like dismiss or ignore or, reject parts of yourself. Because whatever you reject about yourself is what you project on other people or other things. You know what I'm saying? Because no matter how much you reject about yourself, that does not mean that rejection is going to leave you or escape you. No. Mm-mm. You're going to find, subconsciously things to project that rejection or that rejected self onto. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, going back to if you was a little soft ass, bitching, and then there's not to insult you if that's what you was, but you grew up, where you was a little scared and a little bitchy like that. You know what I'm saying? You was a punk a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Now in your life, you're not so much of a punk. However, buff ass, however, again, buff, you're going to face people who was just like you when you was that age. Because they're showing you who the fuck you was and who you tried to ignore, and you never dealt with it. You just, over time learned how to be tougher, but you didn't deal with that iteration of who you are. So of course you're going to be confronted, or you're going to be in a situation dealing with a punk again. Like, for example, you could have a son or a daughter or a child who can remind you when you used to be a punk when you was in middle school or high school or something like that. And guess what type of feelings you can imagine what type of feelings come up because of that. You know what I'm saying? Anger, like disgust. But instead of that disgust and anger being aimed at that kid, it's really disgust and anger at yourself because you used to be that kid, or that kid is a reflection of an iteration of self that you had back then. So now we're getting into all your past selves when they come back. Sometimes, oh no, I ain't gonna say sometimes, they always come back. So that addict, when you were sitting here doing them drugs and popping them pills, that person is still with you. It's just now, is that person being regulated, or is that person free to wild out? Because it's so easy for you to regress or to backslide into you doing the drugs again, isn't it? That's when I was doing the church thing. They said it's backsliding when you're a Christian and then you go back to, worldly shit. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't recently a Christian. This is all the way back in like 2011, something like that. I was a Christian for like 6 months. But like I said, going by what I said, any day now I can come like confront or be in a situation with a person who's a Christian and be reminded of how I was a Christian, or just be coming to, like, be in a situation of somebody who's religious. Because you don't have to be a Christian for them to be that type of believer. You could be a Muslim, you could be a Judaic person. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever fucking thing you believe. You could be confronted by that person, or you could be in an event with that person and they remind you of who you once was. Now, some people like to ignore that. And again, all types of emotional turbulence arises up in them. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to face that. You don't want to deal with it. And it makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. Because you have an idea, this false idea of who you are right now, and you don't identify with who you once was. But you still going to be confronted by that. It's still going to rise up somewhere. You're going to go somewhere and don't even expect to be confronted by it. It's going to appear. Because what's in the backstage has to come to the forefront sometime, somewhere, at some place. So why not be, proactive about it and really start doing your inner work, which I have a course for, like I said, emotional baggage claim and inner work suite, where you confront that head on instead of it confronting you. Again, this is the content of your dreams. So what I also do is dream genome interpretation, which is based on my dream genome thesis that I came out with a few years ago. So this is a part of the interpretation. It wasn't hard for me to decode that dream this morning of me hugging my mom that way. You know what I'm saying? Some part of me is still hooked on trying to be addicted or be a mama's boy, be that want to be on the tit again. And I imagine that's everybody. You know what I'm saying? I think it was, a strong enough dream for me because it's something that I wasn't really kind of, expressing that part of myself. It was something that I was probably, buried under all these facades of who I thought I was. But that attachment to your mother, especially if it's cut short, or if she was rejected you, or she abused you in some way, or, you know what I'm saying? Which is a common thing out here. Again, you're going to have dreams about it. If not the dreams, people in your life are going to confront you. You're going to run into people who are just like that. You know what I'm saying? Either someone like your mother or someone who was like you back when you was a child. Because again, people would still be addicted to their mom or attached on, as I like to say, they still on the tit, even well into their adulthood, like even going into seniority. Like it's 50-year-old, 60-year-old dudes who still are on the tit of their 80, 90-year-old mother. Yeah. Probably live with them in the basement, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Little basement ass niggas. You got gray in your hair, but you're a basement nigga. I'm not trying to insult. I'm just trying to be funny. But anyway, these things will pop up. So what makes you think you're going to suppress them or bury them? No. Sometimes they come back. Scratch that. They always come back. Ooh. I tried to, hurt your ears with that. If you got headphones, I tried to hurt your ears. Ooh, you know what I mean? Because I don't care if you don't like what I do. Like I actively, like on social media, I actively be, dislikable just to get rid of people. You know what I'm saying? For my own entertainment. I'm a sick fuck. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But anyway, that these things become a part of your dream. So a lot of people don't even know how to decode what's happening in their dreams. See, if you had a helping hand. See that? See that hand? A helping hand. All you gotta do is take my hand and I can show you some things, baby. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I can show you some things, but I'll just tell them to you while I'm, doing this thing. Because I'm saying, some people don't want to come to terms or come to grips. And that the first step in any, trying to solve a problem, whether you're alcoholic, drug addict, or sex addict, is confront or come to terms or admit that you have the problem. Some of you're not going to be real with yourself. This broadcast is about being real with yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that I upset people or get under their skin when I'm being real about myself, because it makes you be insecure about you not being real with yourself. It's a mechanism. It's a process. You know what I'm saying? Just like analyze this, analyze that. It's a process. You know what I'm saying? It's a process. Perhaps not today, maybe tomorrow, maybe in a couple years, you'll be wanting to, finally face these different iterations or aspects of who you are. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it won't be today. You know what I mean? It's okay. You know what I'm saying? A helping hands. You know what I'm saying? Just that emoji, helping hands. You know what I'm saying? A shoulder to lean on. You know what I mean? A lap to lay your head on if you're female. You know what I'm saying? If you're female, you're of a consenting age. You know what I'm saying? And you welcome it. You know what I'm saying? None of that rapey stuff around here. But anyway, this is something that, people often try to bypass, what I'm saying, when it comes to self-knowledge. Because again, they create a persona, they create masks. Social media, and then, just by extension, the whole conscious community, I see a lot of masquerading going on. It's a fucking woke theater play. Going back to that metaphor, it's a metaphor. It's a figure of speech. It's a metaphor. You know what I mean? If you got somebody that bought the book, thank Mike Chris. Thank you for the purchase. You're gonna love what you read when it come on your doorstep. You're gonna love that package. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'm seeing a lack of self-confrontation, a lack of self-acknowledgement in this thing. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, you're gonna see it with people who aren't supposed, you wouldn't classify as like them being conscious or spiritual or woke or anything like that. But it's kind of funny when it's people who are supposed to be that and they're actually not doing that. So again, you create this woke character, this spiritual character you created, what I'm saying, to help you, ignore or evade dealing with your actual selves, your past selves. You know what I'm saying? Because with past selves, again, they don't stay in the past. They happened in the past. They first came through in the past, but they come with you into the present and onto the future. That's the thing about that. So going back to my dream, I know that that part of me is not dead. It's not sleeping. It's woke. You know what I'm saying? Woke. It's active. Now I can ignore it, or I can go towards it and deal with it. I can do techniques. I can do, get into my own course, because I got, stuff that I wrote down. I do take my own medicine. You know what I'm saying? I can do that stuff. So think about all the dreams you've ever had, just even your dreams where you were doing things in the dream that you don't normally do in real life. See, you don't want to deal with that. You kind of like, you're trying to shrug it off and act like I don't know what I'm talking about. You're trying to act like that didn't happen. Oh no. You got to stop that. Here's my hand. Take my hand and deal with that part of those parts of yourself that you're trying to ignore or project onto other people. Take my hand. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Don't be scared. I tried to scare you in the beginning, but I'm trying to, what I'm saying, give you, get you onto this bravery and courage. Because you know the thing about courage, you know what I'm saying? It's not the or absence of fear. It's you being afraid, but still going on. It's like a movie moral, you know what I'm saying? A little movie moral for you, you know what I mean? A little moral of the story for you. Because what is a life worth living if you only live as a facade? All types of problems it's gonna erupt. Because it's like you're ignoring. It's like, for example, if you're in a house of kids and you're ignoring, you know, 7 of them just to deal with the 8th one, the 7 other children is going to be upset. They're going to be like, well, why mom or why daddy is ignoring me? Right? That's the same way your mind is working. Your past selves are working that way too. Because every part of yourself gets to be in the front stage. Whether it's an actor, whether it's a stagehand, whether it's director, they all get a chance to be on stage. You ever notice at the end of a play where all the actors and stagehands and everybody who was a part of the play, they come on stage and they introduce, my name is, Johnny Sue, and I played Lily in the play, or my name is Steve Johnson, and I was the main director stagehand, or my name is Martin Scoopy, whatever, I'm making up names. Martin Scoopy, I was the actual director and writer, the screen or the stage or playwright of the play. And they do that at the end of the play. So it's the same thing. Everybody gets the chance to be on stage in front and center. You know what I mean? Now, for example, let's say you have a self that gets very angry, and there's things that make you angry. It's things that, get you hot, get you hot in the pants. You know what I'm saying? Or hot-headed, not hot in the pants. That would be sexual. You know what I'm saying? Something that just really just gets you blazing. I can probably do that for you. You know what I'm saying? It'd be niggas out there be watching my shit and they be mad at me. You know what I'm saying? They confront me in my inbox and email. You know what I mean? Acting like they want to knuckle up. Like, what's good? Like, it's something that really just, you know what I'm saying? And that part of you comes out. Now, just because you dealt with it doesn't mean it stops arising. It's just that, how do you act when this self comes through? Because some people don't have control over that. Obviously, they have road rage, they have anger issues. They don't know how to safely and securely direct that energy or that anger or that part of themselves. Then, as opposed to someone who recognizes that and does that self-acknowledgement. So now when that angry aspect comes through, they're not lashing out. They're not breaking plates and, smashing shit in their apartment, or, you know what I mean? They're not imploding in themselves where they don't want to deal with the world. No, they learn how to direct and channel that angry self. You know what I'm saying? Now they do have a word for it, sublimation, where you're sublimating a negative emotion, you know what I'm saying, and then doing something good with it, like um, doing some sort of artwork, you painting, or you write a book, or you make a movie or something like that. I mean, that's part of it too. But even if you're not so artistically or creatively inclined, it's still being able to make sure that when this angry self comes through, it's not causing detriment for you. You know what I'm saying? Because vengeance begets vengeance. Because let's say you take vengeance upon somebody, but they got kids. Now the kids want revenge against you. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And when does it end? You know what I mean? It's like some Romeo and Juliet shit. Like, you got two families, or this could be South Central LA. Like, two factions of gangs, they keep killing each other, and it's a revenge. It's like ping pong. I kill your man's, you kill my man's. I kill your woman's, I kill your woman. Like, it's a back and forth thing, because people don't know how to control their anger or their anger self. But me being vulnerable, you know what I'm saying? I'm being vulnerable right now. In my dream that I just had this morning at the time of this live stream, that is a self where I was dependent on a woman, a motherly woman figure for my support and security. And I know in my life that went south. So, but before that went south or before that went wrong, I was attached to her. I was on her. I was holding tight. That's what the dream was telling me. That self is still there. So even if you go into your dreams and be like, why would I do something like that? I wouldn't do something like that in waking life. Well, I'm pretty sure you did have that self somewhere in your past, and you don't like to express it, so it has to find some outlet in your dream space. Here, take my hand. You didn't take my hand. I offered it like 3 times. Take my hand. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Come on. What you doing? You on that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You ever be just around people and they just be on that bullshit? You just, man, I'm heading out. You know what I'm saying? You on that bullshit. But dealing with that part of myself, because right now it's like, I don't, try to form any, like deep attachments like that. But part of me wants that. Obviously, part of me has that desire. Again, it's not the totality of who I am. It's a part of who I am. You know what I'm saying? And I imagine it's a part of you too. Who wouldn't want to be loved? Who wouldn't want to be embraced and cherished, and you find support and security through someone, you know what I'm saying? Someone that has your back, you know what I mean? Who wouldn't want that? Only hurt niggas and hurt bitches don't. Now, I don't want to be a hurt nigga, hurt bitch. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. So I'm gonna have to deal with that. And luckily that I had that dream where it's like, it shows you this is something that's still active, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Because I can have that dream and not deal with it at all and not say nothing about it, go on about my physical days. But again, it's going to pop up again. It's just like, oh, I'm back. Oh, I'm back. That's how this shit works. Every part of you has its time on center stage. You have to confront all those parts of who you are. You know what I'm saying? And then you see how people lose themselves into the things they do. Like, for example, social media. They lose themselves in a camera. They lose themselves in sex. They lose themselves in eating, overeating, to avoid this other part of who they are, or these other entities or iterations of who they are. So you're being haunted and you don't want to confront what's haunting you. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to do it. I could see this, little twinkle in your little eye. You know what I'm saying? I see that. Ooh, I see that shit. You know what I'm saying? You can't. There's a lot of shit you're just not going to hide from somebody like me, man. I practice trying to figure people out. And it'd be so easy because some people act like they so mysterious that they can't be, figured out. Like they can't be detected. Like they can't be, decrypted. And it's like, bitch, you showing me everything I need to know about who you is. You know what I mean? Gotta know what to look for. You know what I mean? Gotta know what to see and look for. You gotta see it. Because just you not trying to look at something doesn't mean it's not going to try to get your attention, or it's not going, like it's just going to go away. No, it's not. In fact, the more you try to ignore it, the stronger it will get in trying to get your attention. The far out it goes to get your attention. Yeah, I've noticed that about myself. I noticed that about just some of the things about myself. Again, I'm a person, like I say, I live alone. I don't really have, that type of support system like that, like how I would want in a dream, right? Because again, some people are still on a mother's tit, proverbially. You know what I'm saying? And some people, they take it further than that on some incest shit, and say they still actually suck their mom's tit. It happens. Don't act like it don't. You don't want to accept this, but I'm trying to take my hand. We going into the shadows right now. We in the narrows. You know what I mean? The gallows or whatever the fuck it's called from the Batman shit. You know what I'm saying? We about to take a trip through Arkham Asylum or something like that. We going to the Shadowlands, baby. You better have your light going. You better have your light on and bright and brilliant. You know what I mean? And it catches your ass and you caught. All because you don't want to confront these parts of who you was. Think about who you was before trauma happened and then who you was after. And that is also a cause of a lot of conflict within you. The pre-traumatic person and that post-traumatic person. There's a conflict. And you see that happen. There's a lot of reason why a lot of people are into the activities and the shit that they into. You can see it in their face. You can see it in their spirit if you have that sight. You can tell that them motherfuckers is in a conflict within themselves, but because they don't want to deal with it, they project that conflict outward. So now they're conflicting with motherfuckers who they should not be conflicting with. Like you see racists, for example, they like to use other people as a, as a scapegoat for their problems. And it's like, no, your problem started right there in the home. You're just looking for other people or even other races, other ethnicities to kind of like take the blame for what's going on in your life. So you're a racist only because you have an internal conflict going on that you haven't resolved. See how I figures you out without even having to like, have you on the couch like I'm your shrink and you my patient. I ain't gotta go that far to figure shit out. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is look for the signs of internal conflict. It'd be right there in their face. It'd be in the things they do. You can tell. You know what I mean? You can tell. But what most people do, what do? They reject their inner conflict so that it could then be projected subconsciously or in the background onto other people. So now they go online, they go out in public and create conflict for no other reason than they don't want to deal with their internal conflict. Simple shit. You know what I'm saying? It's not hard to decode. Bitches try to be all mysterious and shit. Like you hard to decrypt. You ain't hard to decrypt, bitch. Fuck out of here. Take my hand so I can show you how I, decoded you, and then you can continue to decode. Take my hand. You know what I'm saying? Take it. Go ahead. It's clean. You know what I'm saying? I'll put hand sanitizer on it. Come on. Take my hand. It's not sweaty. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got the cooties or nothing like that. I ain't got the Corona bottle. You know what I'm saying? That came out in 2020. I don't have the Corona bottle. Come on, take my hand. Because it's your leeway into salvation where you save yourself. I'm not saving you. You're saving yourself. You about to put that burden on me where I got to save you. I'm not taking that burden. You know what I'm saying? Imagine you trying to fall into my arms so I can save you, and I just drop your ass on the cliff. You know what I'm saying? You got to save yourself, little lady, young brother. You got to do that. You got to do it. I'll take your hand, but you got to walk. You know what I mean? Can't pull you if you don't want to go nowhere. Come on now. What's going on in here? And then, like I say, you got people who, there's degrees, there's levels to their ignorance of themselves. Not ignorance as them they don't know, but ignorance as ignorance. Like they're actually ignoring these aspects of who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like imagine like for example, you could be a guy who, you really like anime. You like cartoons, you like animation, you like this Pokemon stuff. You like that shit. But because you want a woman, you try to suppress that childlike self. You try to suppress it. You try to push it down, like create this macho facade like you ain't into kitty shit. But you is, bro. It's okay. I like Yu Hakusho. I like One Punch Man. I like Dragon Ball Z, not the super shit, just the shit that came out in the 90s. That's the only shit I like. It's okay. There's women out there that like, these type of women, sexy ass Jones that be at the Comic Con. You know what I'm saying? Dressed up as Sailor Moon, and they got the tight thongs and the man, listen. And you suppressing that part of yourself because you think that you need to be, all mature, like, you know what I'm saying, act like you're an adult just to, try to press some woman. You know what I mean? But what's up with you, my man? Because I'm like I said, and this is kind of like by autobiographical, by the way, because I came across a couple women before where it's like, oh, I don't like men that's in the cartoons and anime and all that. I want a real man. You know what I'm saying? Then if you start to feed into that, then it's like you want to try to suppress that part of yourself just so you can appear, masculine and manly and grown manish to these Jones. And it's like, well, you should know that that Joan ain't for you. She ain't into no Dragon Ball Z. She ain't into Pokemon. Why the fuck would you fuck with her? Why would you go after that? She's clearly not your type. You feel me? She's clearly not your type. Now let's flip it over on the women. So you got Jones out here that want to be submissive. I know, I should know. I'm not going to tell you how I know, but you got women out here that truly want to be submissive. They even want to be really submissive in the bedroom. Like they want the man to they want that. You know what I'm saying? They want that. However, they around other women who's like, or men where it's like, they're like, nah, queen, you should be on top of the world. You should be dominating because I'm in the matriarchy and you should be too. But that's not who you are on the inside, sis. You want a dom. You want a domineering man. Because it turns you on. You like being on your knees and submissive and bust all over you. Some women like that. I don't mean to be vulgar, but they like that. But they ignore that part of themselves because of societal norms, because of societal conditionings, because how they are going to be perceived by other people. So there's a lot of dark crawlings around. There's a lot of dark escapades going around. You know what I mean? And this even goes into I don't want to say, definitely, I could say schizophrenia. I could say that, especially if you deal with the term etymologically, like schizo meaning schism or divide, and then phrenia, which means brain. So you have a split brain, a divided mind. So a lot of times, some people, they do stuff, but they have a cognitive dissonance of it. So it goes back to them projecting it. Like they don't want to acknowledge consciously that they do this stuff. So it's almost like they create an alter ego or like this secret, like a dissociative identity for that person to do that stuff. And you see it in movies all the time. You know what I mean? Like take the Green Goblin. You know what I mean? Like if you talk about Spider-Man, I'm in the comic books and stuff like that. Not as heavily, but there's the Green Goblin. So his whole thing is that he has an alter ego or this dissociative personality that likes to get on the glider and throw pumpkin bombs at people and kill them. You know what I'm saying? That's something he always wanted to do, but he can't be consciously involved. So that other part of himself goes out and do that. And after that is done, he goes back to being, Norman Osborn, which is his real name. Just a businessman who's into helping and being a philanthropist and all that stuff. So sometimes we deal with these aspects of ourselves, have them do the things that we don't consciously want to do. So this also plays into the dream. So going back to my situation, again, it's a dream where I'm sitting here hugging my mom so very tight and don't let go. However, that's not what I'll be doing in real life. I don't be doing that shit in real life. Do I look like the hugging type? Do you think you would hug me and enjoy it? You know what I'm saying? Maybe you would, but do I look like the hugging type? I don't think I do, but perhaps you see that I do. I don't know. But it's nothing where it's like I consciously want to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing that I consciously want to do, but on a lower threshold, I probably do. So guess what? I'm pretty sure in the next week or even in the next couple weeks, I'm going to be dealing with somebody that's going to draw that out. That's how this shit works. You know what I'm saying? Or I can even be faced with or dealing with someone who is just like me on a flip side, who also secretly deep down yearns for that type of attachment, but they're just like me, where it's like they don't be doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? In their conscious life. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. You really have to sit here and stop letting things hinder your ability to recognize these past selves. They're going to come back to confront you, to haunt you. You are a haunted body right now, and don't even know it. You've heard of a haunted mansion, a haunted house, a haunted jail. You know what I'm saying? Boo block. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, ooh. I'm still trying to scare you. Does it work? No, you don't know the real me because I know I can get a scare out of your ass. I know I can. I know I can. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't be afraid to face that. There was you before the trauma, if we talk about trauma, and then there's you after the trauma. You know what I'm saying? How long are these parts of yourself going to be in conflict? How long? How long are you going to let that persist? Because I'm pretty sure this causes one of the major problems in your life. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure it does. Because why wouldn't it? And then y'all be wanting to be in relationships with people where it's like, that's a leeway for that, all that shit to come through. So it's not even like, for example, you meet somebody for the first time in the first few months, everything's going good, and then all of a sudden a whole different motherfucker come out of it. Now you can say that they were trying to hide that, or sometimes it's not even that because they don't even know what's going on. It's just that as soon as they got in that situation, it drew out a part of themselves that they have, yet to recognize or haven't dealt with throughout the years of their life. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just a completely different person. As soon as we moved, he was the greatest guy, in the first 4 years. No, not even years. The first 4 months of our dating relationship. But as soon as we moved in with each other, the monster of himself came out. You hear that shit all the time. You know what I'm saying? All the time. He's not really that conscious. He just wears the fez and the ankh, and he's not even really a vegetarian. I caught him eating pork ribs, with the extra sweet baby Ray barbecue. So that's what I like to do. You know what I'm saying? And that's something I would never hide from a joint. It's like I like sweet baby Rays and that type of barbecue sauce. So I ain't about to try to come into your life like I'm a vegan. You know what I'm saying? And then later on, you find out that I like all the grease all over my beard and lips and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Eat your coochie right after that, so it's on the on the vagina, the barbecue. So you know what I'm saying? It can be like that. Take my hand. Take my hand. Take my hand. Let's go into the dark cave and corridors of who the fuck you are ignoring about yourself. The darkest part of this world is yourself. There's not an alley or central park or cave that's darker than who you are. And you see the behaviors a lot of people, I'm reiterating myself. You see the behaviors people engage in to ignore these other parts of who they are. You see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like people that be in high places, like they're in some high position in society or in a corporation, like they have all this power and control, but outside of that they like being dug in the booty. They say that about a lot of executives, like a lot of white men that are in these corporations, like they like being pegged. They got all this power over people, the power to fire people, to fuck up their finances, like you know what I'm saying. You have all this power, but in the bedroom or outside of work, they like having women stick anal beads in their butt, in their bum. You know what I'm saying? Had like 5 anal beads in his bum last night. You know what I'm saying? So you got people that like anal bead play, control your financial and your destiny. This motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? Try to get a job and shit. Because think about why they even try to aim for that place in society. They're trying to ignore that they like this stuff and they like being, say pegged, like they like that. It's a part of who they are. And being ashamed of that, they try to aim for, positions and places in society where they have the power. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, to lesser degree that happens anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Not just in no, corporate setting, but it could be anything, you know what I mean? Like, for example, if you're being like you're in you grew up in a home where your mom or dad or both of them was verbally abusive, where they say you ain't gonna be shit, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna see shit, you ain't gonna, you know what I mean? It's really them talking to themselves, but using you as a proxy, using you as a punching bag, using you as a target board, where all these things that they're throwing at you is shit that they truly goes back into who they are. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let's not get into the whole. Let's no take my hand. Let's go into that parental child abuse and like really figure out why it's being done. Obviously, it's because that parent has insecurities about him or herself. Obviously, hurt people, right? And then hurt people going to hurt more people. So when are you take my hand? When are you going to deal with your past selves? I know it's haunting you. It's like ghosts. Ghost. And hey, this isn't to force you to do shit because I can't do that. But it is a call to come and surveil that, to really see that about yourself. Because you keep projecting, and then you're gonna find out that, real harshly, that it was you the whole time. And that's my time. Achad, holography, the whole writing of the arts and sciences as one educational discipline, you know what I'm saying? Tau turntable, it turns, I have an minute where it turns, it rotates clockwise, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you get it from that website streaming right down on the bottom of the screen here in blue and white, you know what I mean? Make sure you do that. And to my patrons, Jay Linton, Jabri Ali, Raquan Rose, Nathaniel Wilson, Crystal, and Redstead, which is also something that I want y'all to also consider. I'm going to keep advertising it. Patreon.com/holography, where, you know what I'm saying, just today I posted, the AIT course. So if you really want to learn about that, ISIS thesis balls of fire stuff, y'all know who y'all is. Y'all was hitting me up saying that y'all wanted it, broken down and more simplified because the work was too dense. Well, won't you sign up for my Patreon and get into the Keter tier? I have two tiers, DOF tier and Keter tier. Get into the Keter tier, and each week I post, like little over an hour long video where I'm dealing with each part of this Balls of Fire book so that it's broken down. I also add my alchemical insights. I'm a practicing alchemist. You know what I'm saying? I do it. You know what I mean? You can tell that I do it. So get involved, sign up, enroll. So again, Al-Akkad, and don't let them spooks get you all spooky and spook them. You know what I'm saying? You a little scary at, but